What's good, everyone? This is Dr. Nee Darko. Make sure you hit the subscribe button below so that you're always up to date on the new uploads as well as alerts on this show. The other thing that you can do to help build this community is make sure you leave a comment below. Let us know what you like, what you don't like about the show, and ultimately, let us know who's winning these arguments, because I need to know that I'm beating Renee in these debates. Run the tape.
What I've been watching and what I think is one of the best medical shows in a long time now. I'm only 2 episodes in, but I got my bootleg HBO Max account going. Nobody's going to know how I got a bootleg, but I got a bootleg HBO account. And you know you got one too, Kiara.
No, wait. I paid for mine. I didn't know.
No, you
I
don't.
need you to
Let me
send
get your, who are you sharing your password with, though, right?
I am. I'm not going to lie.
Remember the Wild Wild West days, like 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, when you could just share a password with like an entire family could have just one password, of like 15 people just have one password.
I know. Now they charge you.
I would have my family come by and like log in on my TV. I'm like, yo, just come in, like come watch TV on, just log in and whatever. And then they leave and I'm like, just give me the remote. Just give me the remote. Don't try to log out. Just go.
Yeah, I'm here messing with everybody's algorithm.
Right? Yeah, it's true. That's true, right? People can find out either what you are into, which could be, that could be a little crazy, or you just messing up their kids' algorithm. But this show, The Pitt, is no joke. It is, I would say if it'd be a show that if I had an opportunity to put out a show, this is the show that I would put out. Right. And The Pitt is, obviously it's a play on words, but The Pitt is an ER. This is basically an ER replica, a more realistic version of the TV show ER that was from the early 90s into the, early 2000s that everybody loved. That's the show that inspired me to go into medicine. It's so close to that it has Noah Wiley. He's heading the show. But basically what this show is let's talk about what happens in the ER doctor's shift. And every episode is an hour of his shift. I'm only 2 episodes in, so his shift started at 7 a.m, I think. So hour 2 were like from 8 o'clock to 9 p.m. or 9 a.m. And you're basically watching everything that occurs. And in the show, he is an ER physician that is obviously he's got to be at least 10, 15 years in, but he's interacting with colleagues. He's interacting with medical students, residents. So this is obviously a teaching hospital. So there's residents there, excuse me. And it's a hospital that appears to be, one of those hospitals that's a public hospital where there's like just a lot of people with insurance, without insurance. There's so many different things that are going on. But what struck me big on this show is there's a lot of just like frank, realistic things that occur in medicine that I think a lot of people would be shocked to find out. There's a scene in there where he just talks about end of life issues with a patient's family. There's a guy who comes in, he's in his late 80s, he lives in a nursing home, and he's coming in with pneumonia, and now he has sepsis because of it, a really bad infection. And he has a advanced directive that says that he doesn't want to be intubated, he doesn't want to be on a ventilator, he doesn't want dialysis or anything like that. But, if he needed some IV antibiotics or some IV fluids, that's okay with that. So like, that's actually very, very vague what I just told you. It sounds like it's very clear, but it's actually very vague. So he comes in where he obviously needs antibiotics and he also needs fluids, but it's very clear that he doesn't want to be intubated. He doesn't want to be on a ventilator. So what happens when he comes in and you can give him antibiotics, but it looks like he won't leave the ER without being put on a ventilator. Right. And then what happens when kids get involved? So his kids are there and they're saying, or at least there's one sibling who's saying, I'm not ready for him to go. Please put him on a ventilator. And that's always the hard part in medicine, which is, what do you mean you're not ready for him to go? Like, your dad has already said that he wants to go under these circumstances if they arise. They have arisen, right? We understand that you're supposed to help him make these decisions when he can't, but he's already made the decision. So now this is almost like a push-pull type thing now. It's like, well, I get what you want, which is you don't want to see your dad go. But dad has already said what, in what capacity he wants to go. So that conversation is very clearly laid out in the show. They spend a good 10 minutes on that. And it's very black and white, and there's some gray areas in there, but it's very upfront in front of you. that I found very fascinating. And I think the public would be very interested to be like, or shocked to know, like, damn, like you guys just have conversations about that? Like someone lives, dies, that's it? Yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah, it is rough. It's rough. That's the type of conversation I have literally every day on the trauma service, because we see
I've
people
never
fall.
seen the show. I'm actually going to try it.
I think you'll like it. It's not salacious yet, right? So it's not like Grey's Anatomy where you're finding out people are sleeping with each other yet. There's a little bit of some people's previous lives that kind of show up on the show, but it's purely at this point, the first 2 episodes, purely medical, purely like the interrelations that occur in a hospital, how people interact with each other, surgeons interact with ER docs, how administration deals with, ER. These things are very interesting also. But that's my biggest concern, is just what's going to happen if it continues like this. Will the public find it interesting after a while, or will they tune out?
Do you think maybe the Pitt was actually created for a specific audience, like directly your audience, I guess, specifically?
That'd be really cool if it was, right? Like if it was, that'd be great, because I think like if you look at the shows now that are on TV, like Chicago Med, Grey's Anatomy, that is definitely not for us, right? Like this is for the public. And the TV show has a job to do, which is we want to make money. So you got to make something that the public wants, right? And public likes to see sex, lies, and videotape. So you got to make it salacious. And it's extremely boring in a medical, in a hospital. I'll be very honest with you. I think it's boring. So they got to make it so that it's entertaining to people. So the fact that they're making this show very realistic, like I talked about in a previous episode, like when for example, someone's heart stops, like you do chest compressions, and sometimes you may have to shock the heart depending on what type of rhythm that you see. On ER, it was notorious. Like they would shock people on asystole. And on this show, like they went out of their way, kind of going through like the fourth wall, right? I was just saying, hey, like we recognize that you guys used to kill us on ER for shocking people in asystole, right? But yeah, we don't shock on asystole. So they're making things very realistic on the show so that doctors and other medical professionals will be like, yep, that's exactly what happens, But it's still very realistic, I think.
I'm going to tell you
so
right
far,
now,
2 episodes in.
If the show is not for doctors, the fact that they even put that in there says a lot.
Yeah.
Because it could be meant for doctors, because as a regular person, I don't even know what that means.
Yeah. It's and the audience probably doesn't care, but the fact that so many doctors or so many medical professionals like, hey, why are you shocking on this, means they were listening. But I agree with you. I think the public in general does like, what are you talking about? Just make this happen. Entertain me. So it's good. I recommend it, guys. Let's see how it goes. I'm not going to do like a episode by episode review, but I think it's something that's worth, people watching right now. Let's see.